enlightenment right now. Because up here at the top right is the player who won the last game with a nice little Void Ray Zealot push. He probably didn't expect to completely win the game for him.
Alicia.
There he is. I imagine he probably thought that would do some damage and get him a lead, an economic lead, but I didn't think he was planning on winning with that, but it worked out for him anyway.
At the bottom left, in the meantime, in blue once more, we have the Zerg player. He just lost the first map. It is...
I'm Noshira.
And it did look like Lucira was planning on doing that game, that strategy last game where you get about six infestors with the pathogen glands, and we've seen it a lot where when the Protoss is fast expanded, they'll just go up and attack with a bunch of Zerglings and lay down like 30 infested Terrans and do a lot of damage and get a third base at the same time. Try and hit both 4 Colossus. So I think he was trying to do that before. I'm curious to see if he's going to do the same thing again.
I'm actually a little bit disappointed in Lucira's play on the last map.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been going on about that a little bit, but with his really good record against Protoss, I have expected him to be a little bit more safe against pushes like that. We mentioned it already, he has like 76% win ratio with the 38 games played against Protoss, and he didn't lose the last 6 maps that he played in this particular matchup. So Lucira is really a solid PvZ player, whereas Alicia has been struggling, and now the expansion spot of the Zerg player gets blocked once more, and we have no gas for Lucira just yet, so he wants to get a fast expansion, and that's exactly what he does at the 3rd base position, so he just walks by the pylon, and this is kind of risky though.
He did have to get that pool first though, because he did get blocked, so Lucira's going to be able to get a few Zerglings here to take care of the pylon before too long. He's going to get some queens out and start working on his economy. But yeah, this is starting to look similar to the last game.
And the thing is, with the position of the expansion as that, and the Forge First play, what Alicia could have actually done right now is just try to cannon the 3rd base. Because usually a Zerg player doesn't get an overlord to the 3rd base just in time.
True.
So if Lucira wouldn't use a drone in order to scout the vicinity of the 3rd base, he could have just killed that base with the pylon and a cannon right away. But as it is, the Zerglings kill the pylon at the natural, and Lucira will start a 2nd hatchery and therefore be on 3 bases.
And this probe's going to get back in though. Oh, the hatchery is already down at the 2nd base though. And Alicia spots it. He wants to make sure that Lucira is not going to go for some kind of a 2-base attack. And now that he sees that 3rd hatchery going up, he knows that he's safe for a while. He can continue getting his tech and just kind of go about his normal plans without having to worry about getting extra cannons to defend an early road rush or anything like that.
So we have Lucira on 3 bases and Alicia on 2. He is about to close the gap and the wall in. Getting that cybernetics core. 2 queens are already on their way for Lucira. He really needs to spread creep between those bases. He needs to control the Xel'Naga watchtower in order to spot incoming pushes straight away. And I'm kind of curious about what Alicia is going to do right now, because he has a lot of options. He can go for the Stargate follow-up. He can just decide on doing a 6-gate, for example, or a 7-gate push, and that would work against 3 bases quite well, especially if Lucira is focusing a little bit too much on economy.
Yeah, I think you're right. He definitely does need to get some creep going between his bases, that's for sure, because... And it looks like he's set up to do so. Yeah, he does get a creep drummer down with that.
Getting the +1 attack upgrade for the Protoss already, so Alicia is definitely planning on using a lot of gateway units with that.
And these elves just trying to... I'm sorry, these Zerglings just trying to explore, just say, you know what, we're just going to take a couple hits each and then go home.
Droning up just a tiny little bit, getting the first creep tumors in there. There's the 1st gate, the 2nd gate. So that's gate number 2 and 3 as it is. Warp gate technology at the 4th gate. Here we go. This is Alicia. A lot of gates already. +1 is nearly done. And I'm curious to see if there's the pylon. There's the pylon being built by the probe right there. And that's exactly what I've been waiting for. A warp in pylon for the Protoss player. 3 gates in the making, and +1 nearly done.
Yeah, now this is not going to be an all-in or anything like that, but he is going to be able to put on some pressure with these 4 gateways. Roach Warren is just completing for Lucira, so he's going to be able to deal with things pretty well. You know, he's going to have roaches in case there's a lot of zealots. He can build roaches to counter that.
Twilight Council now warped in for Alicia as well, so he's going for the tech, and at the same time that Zergling, whoa, is being dealt with by the cannon. First couple of roaches already in the main game. That's another pylon being placed down, but the probe is being chased off, and the rest of the Zergling takes care of the pylon. Alicia will have to cancel that one.
But there are zealots heading from the previous pylon. He might have put that down almost to fool Lucira into thinking that he had taken out the pylon. But in fact, the pylon is still in existence over there. And zealots are marching in here, but there's roaches out already. He needs to micro them a little bit better, but he is going to take care of these zealots very easily.
Yeah, exactly. That's just not working. There are way too many roaches already. He should have attacked the third base, to be honest. I mean, the pylon was closer to the main base, so that kind of made sense. But at the same time, we have one zealot at the third base, going to be surrounded by the drones, killed by the roaches. And right now we have Blink being upgraded. Speed is halfway done for the Zerg player, and Luzira, he is going for lair tech and at the same time getting more and more drones. He has a decent amount of drones already, 51 to 47, and also a scary number of roaches. I'm not too sure if that Blink upgrade will do Alicia all that much good, to be honest with you.
Lucira does find that extra pylon, shuts it down as well, so Lucira is actually quickly running away with this game. He has been completely unharassed, and he has managed to get a ridiculous economy going. He's got 55 drones. He's actually even building some more right now. And, you know, Alicia's just kind of let him do whatever he wants. Lucira now putting some pressure on Alicia as well with these roaches. Only a handful of stalkers thus far.
And I don't know, Moltra, but this does not look good for Alicia at all. I think this kind of... He looks a little bit undecisive right now, to be honest.
Well, I mean, he's going to deal with these roaches. He's going to be able to warp in some more units and deal with these roaches. But he's actually 50 supply behind right now. So even if he defeats these roaches, Lucira's economy is just going to get too sick. Oh, and he kills off the forge, shutting down the upgrades as well. It's going to pick off a few stalkers here.
That doesn't look good at all. More stalkers are dying. He's able to use Blink in order to save a bunch of them, but still, the roaches are being killed. But so far, Alicia wasn't able to deal all that much damage, and that time window when he was attacking allowed him to get more and more drones. He's now placing down a lot of spine crawlers and getting a ton of Zerglings as well as upgrades. I really don't think... I don't know what Alicia was planning on doing. This looks like just being a half-hearted attack. Going for 4 gates in the early game, getting some zealots. What did he try to achieve with those few zealots?
I don't know at all. The zealots were a little bit late to accomplish anything. Maybe he was hoping to catch Lucira without any units, and Lucira just got roaches out at just the last moment. But yeah, Lucira has 4 spines at both of his bases that would be open to attack. He's got a bunch of Zerglings and roaches, and here he's doing some counterattacks with these Zerglings as well. He is completely safe from Alicia right now, and his economy is just booming. He's going to be able to start pumping out lots of units very soon.
And he still stays on 55 harvesters. Oh, there's an engagement going on. All the Zerglings trapping those stalkers. Look at that. The roaches come in to kill 4 of them. He's retreating just a tiny little bit. Alicia actually on 100 supply against 110 right now. Not doing all too bad in those later fights.
I'm a little surprised he backed off there, actually. He could have ended up helping kill those stalkers. He wants to engage on the spine core so to get some extra damage going. Make sure he gets the surround. Oh, picks off up there. Does get that sentry. Only the 1 sentry. Could have been pretty handy to have around, but he's not going to have it anymore.
Doing a really good job at the Blink micro, though. That's really well done. But at the same time, all those spine crawls really do a number on Alicia. He's trying to attack the whole time, but he's behind again. 125 against 107 supply. And Lucira throwing down a macro head. She needs those lava. Getting tunneling claws as well. There's no detection whatsoever for Alicia. Trying to attack the expansion once again.
And wow, he needs to warp in something there quickly to save his main base. He's going for the attack though. Lots of Zerglings coming in. Alicia forced to blink back away from those Zerglings. There's just too many Speedlings. And he's going to let his core die.
Wow.
The force field goes down a little bit late. Alicia not paying attention to his front there. Needed to warp in a couple Stalkers or something to deal with those Zerglings, and instead lets his Cybernetics core die. And so now he actually can't make more Stalkers, although you might want to make Zealots right now anyway.
And Alicia still being on 2 bases against 3, 140 supply against 124. There's the upgrade for the Overlords, Ventral Sacks in order to be able to drop, and the +1 attack upgrade for the Roaches. Small engagement in the middle of the map, but it actually doesn't look all that promising for Alicia right now. We still have Burrow and Tunneling Claws for Lucira.
Now, here's the thing. Lucira getting pushed back a little bit there. Oh, and the third base gets spotted and forced to cancel. Alicia trying to get that third base going. But as I was saying, Lucira, he actually spent a lot of drones on those spine crawlers, and he's been spending on other buildings and stuff as well. He's been spending money on upgrades instead of drones, so he's actually at even harvesters to Alicia right now. They're actually at even harvesters right now, and the reason why that is Lucira has pretty good saturation, but he only has the 4 gas in his main and his natural. Does not have 6 gas right now, so that's why we see him putting out a lot of roaches and such. He just did get around to drones though.
And look at that, Lucira actually burrowing Zerglings at the expansion spot of his opponent and therefore blocking that base.
Nice.
There's no detection, we mentioned that earlier, for the Protoss player, for Alicia. And now Lucira is trying to attack. He's trying to go for it, 42 roaches, and he droned up as well. So now with 191 supply, Lucira decides that it's finally time to put some pressure onto Alicia.
Oh, and you know what? He has Tunneling Claws, and Alicia has no detection, like you mentioned. He can just burrow and move right underneath Alicia's army and unburrow around it as the Zerglings come in if he wanted to. Looks like a Dark Templar getting picked off. Or was it a DT or was it a Zealot?
That should have been a Zealot.
Okay, never mind then. Sounded like a Dark Templar dying, but I guess I heard it wrong.
+2 armor and +2 attack researched for Lucira. And Alicia getting another upgrade himself. The pylons being picked off. And now the Protoss player trying to... actually killing one of the pylons.
He unpowers one of his warp gates.
And
now
the cannon.
He does have 2 robotics facilities now, though.
He actually unpowered the detection.
Well, he just got an observer out with one of those robots.
Oh, finally.
Yeah, so, and he's pumping out a lot of immortals, too, which is going to be really powerful. If he gets 3 or 5 immortals against those roach army, that's going to be really effective. All he has to do is hold out until he gets a couple more mortals out, and then he should be able to deal with this pretty easily.
Oh, look at the Zerglings, still not being scouted. They're not in the vision of Alicia. He's just not able to place down that expansion. He needs that observer in order to kill the 2 Zerglings. This is just brilliant, and the Protoss player loses so much time before he can start his 3rd base. In the meantime, Lucira already has his 4th.
Yeah, Lucira, he's taken this time and used it well. Droned up. I mentioned earlier he didn't have many drones. He's droned up now to 74 drones. He's getting his 4th base as well. And he's maxed out right now, so he's going to start storing up money and basically going to be able to remax very quickly if he does lose his army. Infestors are on the field as well, and I believe he does have the pathogen glands. Yes, he does. So they're all popping out with fungal. 6 fungal growths available to Lucira right now. If unless Alicia engages in the right spot, Lucira will be able to defeat his army very easily. But again, if Alicia engages in the right spot, Alicia could win easily as well, depending on how it plays out. Lucira has map control, though, so he gets to pick where the battle happens.
And Lucira is also adding additional tech structures, which I like a lot, because with all those immortals, he will have a tough time dealing with them. And cancels the expansion of his opponent once more. The Spire is on its way, so he can get Root Lords later on. And here's the engagement. He needs to use that Burrow and Tunneling Claws. He wants to play close to the Stalkers. That's exactly what he does. He tries to retreat. Too many immortals. He needs to get out of there.
Whoa, and he's not using the Infestors at all. Finally, a couple Fungals going down, but he's losing so many Roaches. Oh my gosh, 5 Immortals doing so much damage. He blinks forward and picks off the Infestors as well. And there is just nothing that Lucira can do. He has remaxed his army very quickly, though,
but
on Roaches. But
yes, exactly, on Roaches. I'm not sure if that's going to help him a lot. Have a look at those Immortals, how many kills they've got. They should have a ton of them already. Immortals are so good against Roaches, and they proved that once again. And they also have a scary company. All those Stalkers with the 2-1 upgrades, 2 attack, 1 armor. And now, with the Hive Tech being done, Lucira is getting the +3 attack upgrade, but he should really try to get the Greater Spire and those Brood Lords.
Yeah, he does have +3 air weapons upgrading right now. I'm sorry, no, those are range weapons, so never mind. Those are for the Roaches. Doesn't have any upgrades on the Spire at all. And he does have his Hive. He really needs to get that higher tech, because otherwise these Immortals are going to slaughter these Roaches. Here he comes in for another attack. The Roach is trying to close in. This time he has a much better angle, and there are no force fields. Only one fumble this time, though. Can the Roaches do enough damage fast enough? He's blinking back, but the Immortals doing so much damage to the Roaches, and Lucira is forced back once again.
And is trying to remax on Roaches once more. Here we go, the expansion. The expansion of Lucira goes down. He's not getting the Greater Spy. He's still getting Roaches, and nothing else but Roaches. And Lucira, with all those units, he just can't compete with the army of the Protoss player. There are still 4 Immortals in the mix, and those guys just deal so much damage to the army of Lucira right now. Alicia doing a really good job.
Yeah, Alicia is playing wonderfully, and he's going for this new 4th base, which is actually really crucial because Lucira is mined out his main. He's going to mine on his natural pretty soon, but he's going to take out Alicia's 3rd, going for the probes first, and then he's going to take out the Nexus easily. But Alicia is going to try and trade.
Wow, look at that, walking up that ramp, and the Immortals in a beautiful position. Force field being placed down. That expansion will be gone in a second, but Lucira took down the 3rd of his opponent. And I have to admit, at the beginning of that game, I really didn't like Alicia's strategy, but right now he has a beautiful army set up to counter all those Roaches. But in his main base, there are a ton of units by Lucira, and I am not sure if Alicia is able to hold that off. He needs to deal a lot of damage with his own armies, moving in with everything he's got, but will that be enough?
Oh my gosh, Alicia has him on the run. He's killed off the 4th. He's going to kill off the 3rd in moments. The drone's running for dear life. The probes have actually run away as well. This has turned into a complete base trade situation. Roaches are rampaging Alicia's main, while Alicia tries to pick off the last bits of Lucira's economy.
Did you see those kills at the Immortals? All of them with 16 to 18 kills. That's just insane. And here's the army of Lucira encountering Alicia once more, trying to pick off the Immortals, and he really needs to do that. One of them is already down. There are 3 left though, and they are just ripping those Roaches apart, tearing through the army of the Zerg player, and Lucira is losing so many units, but Alicia's army is dwindling. The numbers, he doesn't have the numbers to keep up with Lucira. Wow, what a fight! And what a battle, look at that!
GG! Alicia loses this game. Wow, that was amazing play by Alicia, but just was not enough. And he just, he was able to win those battles really easily with the Immortals. He used force fields to keep the Roaches back. The Immortals, of course, with the 6 range now, were able to just sit behind those force fields and just be like, ha 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 ha, fish in a barrel. Roaches in a force field trap and slaughter everything, but once he ran out of force fields, the forces just closed in around him and eventually finished him off. A beautiful counterattack with those other Roaches as well by Lucira. So we have a tie ball game here. 1-1, the last game is going to determine the winner of the series.
The problem that Lucira had in this game was that he relied much too early on Roaches. Alicia didn't do an all too good job in the early stage of the game. We mentioned that attack with the Zealots was a little bit random. He just tried to go into the main base, deal damage. The Roaches were already out. Lucira was prepared for that and dealt with that beautiful. But at the same time, Alicia was just able to get those double robotics, and when Lucira just went for all those Roaches, he built the Immortals, he didn't get any Colossi, and the Immortals just really did a number on the Roaches. And why didn't he get the tech earlier? He had the Hive tech already going, he didn't get Brood Lords, he had so much money and so much time, but he waited way too long, and in the end, he was just forced to get more Roaches. That was all he could do. Yeah,
I think, I'm not sure. I mean, it may have just been the fact that that's what he had the money for, and he's just like, all right, well, I need to get as many units out as fast as possible. Infestors are going to take too long. I'm not sure. But yeah, he just kept remaxing off Roaches depending on his economy there, which was superior. It wasn't as good as it could have been. It's only like 75 drones, and then he lost his 4th. But eventually it did just pump out enough units to barely was able to pump out enough units to slowly wear down that army.
Was a pretty close call though, and I have to admit that one push by Lucira when he walked past his opponent's army, even though Alicia was attacking, and he took down the 3rd again, that was basically the key winning moment. Took down the economy of the Protoss player, and then Alicia just didn't have any money left to build more Stalkers and Immortals. Well done by Lucira. In the end, he was the smarter player in this particular game. And now we see the 3rd map.
The third map is going to be none other than Antigua Shipyards. And the players have said go, go, go. And we have obliged them. Game number 3 is starting. This game will decide the match and who will advance to the third round, where you can have the contest within sight. Who's going to make it, Lucira or Alicia? We'll find out in just a moment.